Hey everyone, this is Hazard here. I just got back from making a late night run to go get some foods. It's about 2 a.m. where I'm at right now, and I got some of this caving footage from earlier in the day. I was gonna make a different kind of video, but I never got around to it, and so I'm just gonna use this as pre-recorded footage while I just kind of talk over the mic about kind of where I'm at right now. And I guess the first thing to start with is just the fact that, as I mentioned in my last Minecraft video where I was in the deep dark looking for diamonds, college has been weighing down on me a little bit more than it has in recent times. As a senior in college, I've got a lot of mileage, and it's just, even without finals and everything going down, like I'd already started to experience burnout, and it's something that I've felt, but as I've been in college, it's grown increasingly more and more as time goes on, and I don't really know how to feel about that. I know that I want to be done, and I know that I'm not particularly enjoying my time here. Not to say that it's all been bad. I mean, I understand that it is a privilege to be able to go to college, but sometimes enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? I've had a lot of fun. There's been a lot of good moments, but there's also been a lot of dull, low points as well. It's really a matter of self-discovery in my case, especially when it comes to what I'm going to be doing with my actual life. Because I'm still relatively young, and I still don't really know what exactly I'm going to be doing with my life. Like, I don't know what kind of career I'm going to have. I don't know, what my outlook's going to be like, in the next 5 years, next 10 years. Like, there's a lot of uncertainty being in the position I am right now. And just with how college has gone, it hasn't really eased any of those concerns I've had. I mean, I've switched a major, I've transferred schools, and not only that, I'm a college athlete. I've switched teams, and throughout my entire time in college, I don't think I've made a single friend from college that I actually, hang out with outside of classes or sports. I don't have a single friend that I talk on the phone with. I don't have a single friend that I would invite over for any of my birthdays that I've made in college. I don't have any roommates. I've been a solo roommate for the majority of my college experience. And it's just unfortunate. Now, granted, I do have friends. I have a lot of friends from high school that I'm still close with. I have a lot of online friends that I've known for years at this point that I'm very close with and spend as much time with them as I can. I'm actually planning on going out and meeting one of them for their 21st birthday, so that's going to be really nice. But, for the most part, it's mostly just been me, people I've already known, and people who are significant to me, like my family and whatnot. And not only that, but I don't really know how to tell my parents how I've been feeling about college, because not only have we already invested 4 years of, money and transferring and all that stuff into my college, would-be college degree, but both of my parents are also college graduates. They graduated from the University of Pittsburgh. Both are teachers, so I'm sure you can imagine the kind of pressure that kind of puts on me, especially as their last son who's in college, because my brother went to college for a year, but that didn't end up working out for him. And so it's been just me for the last 3 years. And like I said, it's just kind of like an expectation kind of being put on me. And of course, my parents, really emphasize the importance of education. And of course, I think it's important too, but, college isn't for everyone. And, I have given it a lot of time. I have given it a fair shot, and I think I'm just kind of at my wit's end. And again, I don't really know how I'm going to go about telling my parents that with how much time has already been invested into that. Now, granted, my parents are very loving, very understanding. I'm extremely lucky to have, the life that I do have. My life in general, I'm very fortunate to have the family and the support system that I do. I know that for a lot of people that I know, like, the life at home can be absolutely terrible. And I would never, ever take what I have for granted. But that also doesn't mean that it still isn't hard to, come forth to your parents about, how you feel about college after spending so long in it and, with their background of being deep into education themselves. It's just a lot of things that, build up over time and has been building up over time. Now, granted, it's not like I'm just going to, it's not like I haven't thought about like alternatives for what I would do if I were to drop out of college. There have been like, moments where I've actually gone out and researched like, other jobs that I could do to, kind of get a career started. And granted, I do have a job now, but it's mostly just a placeholder job to kind of get me through college, through each semester. That way I have some gas money and money for shopping and stuff like that. I'm only making like $13 an hour. It's not really anything significant or anything self-sustaining. So I have gone into research about, alternative jobs that don't require a degree. That way I'm not just going in completely blind. I want to try to go into this with a plan. And also I've talked with a few of my friends and, we've had talks about, getting an apartment together and, living together because, with the way that housing is in this day and age, like, it's going to be a while before I can even think about having a house. And it's just something that, it's just another thing that kind of adds pressure onto the fact that I don't really know if I'm going to be continuing with this because, a lot of people act like college is do or die. Like if you don't have a degree, then you can't get a good paying job. And I know that's not the case, but that's been implanted in my head for so long that even though I'm aware that that's not the case, it's still hard to break away from that mindset. And it's scary to think about sometimes. Not only that, but, I'm not going to be playing, soccer anymore in college. I've been playing soccer for almost 20 years at this point. And, I love playing. Like, I play whenever I can. And so that's another thing as well. It's another one of the hard things about this is that if I do not continue, then I won't be able to play the sport I love. Matter of fact, the whole reason why I got into college in the first place is because I wanted to continue playing soccer at a high level. And that's kind of where my initial, college dream kind of came into fruition. Granted, my parents were always in the background, emphasizing the importance of college. But when I realized that I wanted to continue playing my junior year, that's when I really started taking the college search seriously and looking into majors that I was genuinely interested in and wanted to have a career in. And so that's another thing that I have to come to terms with is the fact that I'm no longer going to be an athlete. I'm going to have to say goodbye to the sport I love. And, that's something that I don't know if I'm really ready for, to be quite honest. Like, of course, I can play pickup. I can play, in adult leagues, but it's not really ever going to be the same as playing for a school and playing for, that kind of team at that kind of level. And, again, it's just something I'm not really ready to come to terms with. But, I think I'm my hand's kind of being forced here, And, not to be all doom and gloom, I think that everything will work itself out. And I think that I am just kind of finding my way, kind of like a lot of younger people do. And I just kind of needed to vent out about, how I've been feeling recently and just, where my head's at and, what I hopefully end up doing in the near future and, some of these decisions that I need to make. And I think everything will turn out pretty all right. I'm not really worried that anything will go catastrophically wrong. I just gotta, actually start doing things and taking action. So, don't really know what this video is. I just really needed to sit down and talk and, let you guys know where my headspace is. Not really knowing if anybody's going to see it. So, hopefully you all have a good night and I'll catch you in the next video.